Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Hello and welcome to episode 137 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale models. And this episode is being brought to you by our latest Patreon supporters, Simon Connell and Neil Stokes. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for helping support the show. And you too can help support the show from as little as $1 per month. Simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 per month upwards. Your support, ladies and gentlemen, is greatly appreciated by us and helps us with our production and hosting costs. So, without any further ado, let's get on with the show. And hello and welcome to the show. And in the studio, I have Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day Benches.
And of course, Julian, who is fashionably late. Now, before you talk, I've got to explain it. So, normally we start at 10:30 or 10 o'clock. We have breakfast in the morning. And then 10:30 we sort of roll into here and start recording. Well, Julian was nowhere to be seen at 10, nowhere to be seen at 10:30. So Ian and I rolled in the studio. We had a pre-recording to do with Neil Stokes from AMPS. So we started that, and then of course Julian rolled in about halfway through that. So when you get to the interview, you'll see Julian come wandering, or hear Julian come wandering in halfway through the interview. How are you, Julian?
Yeah, not bad. Fully awake now.
Yeah, awake now. I'll tell you what, I'm rarely late.
No, you're not. Yeah, and we were worried.
Yeah, I know. That's what happens when you're rarely late. I mean, otherwise people expect it from you, right?
So he walked in the door and Michelle did an infusion of caffeine into him.
Transfusion, Yes. Let's pipe it directly into my veins. Yeah, it was one of those things where the moment your eye cracks open, you realise I'm late.
I'm late.
And the adrenaline just sort of starts surging as you try to scramble to get out of there.
And you didn't have a club or meeting or anything last night either, so...
That's why.
That's
probably why.
Yeah, threw you out.
Yeah.
It can happen.
So, on news, Ian and I went to a hobby shop a fortnight ago after the last show.
Yes, we did. Yeah, we went to see our good mate Darryl, who actually wasn't in that day, but went to Gundown Plus, and I mainly bought paint. And I mainly bought kits. I bought one kit. I bought 3 kits. Yeah, you did. You outdid me for a change. I only bought, what did I get? The Hasegawa 48 scale Raiden.
That's right.
The late model, the M5 Raiden.
Yep.
So I finally got a Raiden in my collection.
Nice.
There you go.
So so I was quite happy with that.
That's a cool kit.
It is. It's a big aeroplane for a Japanese World War II, especially the cockpit. It's like a P-47 Thunderbolt cockpit. It's huge.
It's bigger, I believe.
Yeah, it's huge.
Having seen them on the table side by side, I think it is wider.
Yeah. So I reckon a lot of those pilots would have had really sore hips after doing manoeuvres because they'd be bouncing around the sides.
I suppose it depends on how well it hugs you.
Yeah, how well you're strapped in.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think what I bought. I bought that.
You bought a little AT something, one of those gorilla-looking AT things.
Oh yeah, that's right. Little Bandai.
So it's 4 kits you bought then.
Yeah, it is.
What scale was that?
1 to 1,000 or something.
1 to 1,000, something like that, or 1 to 1,200 scale. And I bought the aircraft carrier tractor sets.
Oh, from Kinetic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an amazing set.
Well, I'll tell you what, the boys from Model Geeks would be proud of me for buying them.
Yep.
Really?
Oh, yeah, because they're right into all that sort of US
naval
carrier stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's in their wheelhouse, to use their terminology.
Yes.
Right.
And I can't think what the other 2 kits that I got.
You got the, was it the Victor tanker?
Oh yeah, in one no. It was the Falcon tanker.
Yes,
in 1/144
the
scale.
GWH kit.
Yep, and there was one more which escapes me also now. How come you guys can remember what I got and I don't?
Because you don't intend to build them, you just buy them and then stick them on a shelf.
She says yes. Yeah. Oh. Anyway.
Yeah, you bought 4 kits.
I bought 4 kits. I can't remember what the 4th one was. And that's a bit of a worry.
See, the reason I didn't go is because I didn't want to buy kits, right?
You're saving your cashola for when we go.
No, I don't do that. But the last kit that I bought was a box big enough to put all 4 of your kits into. You know?
Yeah, well, that's true. It was a freaking huge box, that Gundam.
Yeah,
absolutely massive. Absolutely massive. Considering it's going to be what, an eighth of the size of the box.
Yeah. No. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It may be even a bit smaller actually. Yeah. It's a chunky boy. It's a big fat chunky robot.
Yeah.
When he's got all of his stuff on, but still.
Have you started it yet?
No. I'm not going to start it yet. I got too many other things in the pipeline.
Oh, look, what do you got on the plate?
I've got a figure. I've got
which figure? Oh, that dark elf.
Yeah, that dark elf.
Oh,
thing.
you're going to start.
I've got that well on the way. Like
cool.
It's on the base. It's painted. It's primed and airbrushed.
Can't put right on the base. Looks good on the base.
Yeah. You're talking about the part on the bottom, on the underside of it that you put on. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I made a base for that, didn't I?
Yeah. You did.
And it's on that base.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm always it's only like I basically gouged out 2 little holes for the little pins on the bottom of the feet to stick into, so it's got something to anchor it down.
Yeah.
But it's still just super glue, and I do worry that it's not really well anchored.
I would use a bit of araldite.
Yeah, whatever.
A bit of araldite will stick it in place.
Yeah, I'll just treat it a bit nice. That's all.
There's that too.
Yeah.
You don't throw it around.
Yeah. Because it is a big heavy piece of metal on top. You know? That's mostly airbrushed. I've got the face painted to some degree, not where I want it yet.
I'm going to interrupt. It's driving me nuts not knowing what that 4th kit was. I'm going to go look while you guys talk.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's that. I've got one card there that's for a friend of mine that I've had a bit of a falling out with. So I'm not sure if I don't really have the incentive to finish that.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't help.
Yeah. Then I've got the Datsun 240ZG that I haven't started, and I kind of want to start that.
Yep.
But I don't like. So with the car, it's got like the stock motor, which is L28 with. Yeah, it looks very, very like a stock motor from the 70s, right? It's got a big fat air filter on it. I'd rather do away with that and put triple Webers on it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking into like maybe ordering in some 3D printed Webers that I could just glue on there, and that would look good.
Yeah.
The problem is they sell them in pairs, and I need 3.
So you got to buy 2 sets.
Yeah, and also they're not that available. Hello, Dave.
Hello, I'm back.
You're back with your model.
And you remembered what he was.
Yes, I got a Global Hawk in 1/48 scale. And I've got buyer's remorse after taking it to the club last week.
Why is that?
Because we took it out and we actually had a look at how big the wingspan is. And I don't think I'm going to be able to fit it anywhere once I build it.
It's a surprisingly small box for how big of a plane that is.
Well, the wingspan is 829 millimetres, 82 centimetres.
That's pretty big, isn't it?
That's huge, man.
It's on the way to being a metre, yeah.
So,
it's a big boy.
It is a big boy.
Yes, definitely.
But it's not a particularly big box. It's actually quite a thin, flat box.
Yeah, well, it's only just like a giant glorified glider, really.
It's the complete opposite of most other aircraft kits where, you open up the box and there's just this tiny thing in the corner.
Remember the old 32nd scale Matchbox kits? Had those big long boxes and basically all the sprues were just in half the box and the rest of the box is empty. It's like, why bother?
Well, the only reason I bought this is because the Royal Australian Air Force has purchased 6 or 7 or 8 of them, so I thought it'd be nice. But I don't know where I'm going to put it. I have to.
You know what you could do?
What? Hang it from a ceiling?
No. Do a small diorama.
Yeah.
Right, and then sort of have like the wings cut off where the edge of the diorama is.
No, you
clip
can't.
Its wings.
No,
yeah.
No.
Why not?
Well, they have given me a good idea to do a diorama with this flying over the top, taking
Well, if you're not going to clip the wings, there's no point in doing a diorama because it'll end up huge.
Yeah, I know. I don't know, man. I'll think about it.
You should suspend it from the underside of one of the shelves.
I should suspend it from the ceiling.
That's
not nothing like having a good dust catcher.
Well, it could be the sacrificial dust catcher.
Yes.
Speaking of which,
your sacrificial anode.
Yes, exactly right. I was still going to go and buy one of those air purifiers, which I need to put in my model room, and they come down in price now. You can get them for about $200. So I might splash out one day soon and get one of them, which would be uber cool.
Yeah, get rid of all the dust and
yeah. Suckle that muck out of my room.
Yes.
I'd like to make a public announcement and extend our deepest condolences onto Kentucky Dave and his family, because unfortunately his father passed away.
Yes, I heard,
a couple of days ago. So our thoughts are with you, Dave, and your family. And obviously hoping that you get through this terrible time quickly. So we're thinking of you, mate.
Yep.
What was the other public announcement I had to make? Oh, you had it before, Ian, did you not?
Yes, there's a upcoming show.
The New South Wales Scale Model Show.
Yes.
2022 New South Wales Scale Model Show, and I haven't got my glasses.
I've got my glasses.
Someone's going to have to read out the dates.
So 2022 New South Wales Scale Model Show, Illawarra Plastic Models Association. Go to the IPMA Facebook page to visit their site, which is, or go to ipmamodels.net for more details. I think the show is, let me have a look, May 21st, 2022, 9am through to 4pm, and May 22nd, 9am to 3pm at the Illawarra Sports Stadium, Hooker Creek Road, Berkeley, New South Wales. There you go. And of course, let's not forget, we need to mention that coming up in June, 16th of June 2022, is the Model Expo, the big ticket item for everybody in Melbourne. It runs from the 16th of June to the 19th of June. Models book in on the 17th of June. Swap and sell is on the 19th, which is the Sunday. And of course, that's going to be at the Sandown Park Racecourse. And just go into the Facebook page and put in your search engine Melbourne Model Expo. We'll bring it up all the details.
And especially the swap and sell, you can come buy all my old kits. Because I'll be there with a heap of old kits to get rid of.
See exactly how much stuff that Ian's got to do.
Yes.
So what we'll do, we'll take a short break, and we're going to be coming back with some stuff from the mailroom. But in the meantime, let's have a listen from our major sponsor, SMS Paints. The Scale Model Supply. Certified Australian made, the Scale Model Supply has a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints that have been specifically developed to cater to the scale modeller. Designed to use straight from the bottle, SMS Paints have taken all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake, pour and spray for a fast drying and extremely durable result. But wait, there's more. SMS have just released the new water-based range, Infinite Colour. It is the ideal paint for anyone who is into miniature painting. And with 48 colours that can be mixed to create any colour you want, the possibilities are, well, infinite. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, train, car, science fiction, or even Gunpla. SMS paints will have a colour to suit you. Available now through selected stockists worldwide and online at www.scalemodeller.com.au. All right, and we're back again to have a look at our mailbag, which is a little bit thin this fortnight. Oh,
before I forget,
yes, please do.
So before we went to the sponsor, you were saying that Ian was saying that he was going to be selling some kits at the Swap and Sell.
Correct.
Right. So there's two items that I'll be selling there.
Yeah.
So one of them is Datsun 240Z kit that I had with a body kit because I started gluing things together, and like the body kit just was not conforming to it whatsoever, and I'd already glued like some of it on, so it's like, as far as I'm concerned, it's stuffed, and I got pissed off at it. Right.
So you're gonna hook it onto someone else.
Well, I would have just thrown it in the bin right there, but
yes, so partially built.
Apparently, people, because basically I would have chucked it, and then in our club, Rob, he was like, you know what, I'll take it and then I'll sell it, because you would not believe what sells there.
Seriously?
Yeah. So he said people buy partially built kits all the time.
I would never buy a partially built kit.
Me neither. But I guess
what kind of weirdo does that, man?
I don't know. But if they want it, they can have it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
What price are you gonna put on it?
I don't know. I'll leave that to whoever's running it.
Well, you better watch out. I'm not behind there, man.
Yeah, right. And one of the other kits that I'm going to be getting rid of is an Eduard special edition that I've got of the is it MiG-23?
The flogger.
Yeah, I think it's the flogger.
The swing wing.
Well, it's the boxing is
the
for the
spade nose one.
Well,
like the flat nose.
This is the thing, right? Because the reason why I bought it was because cool, it's got all the aftermarket stuff. It'll be good. Because they've taken the trumpeter kit and they've reboxed it and they've thrown all the...
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
Stuff. And it's got a beautiful book in it. Really beautiful book. A thick book at that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the kit itself is not of the ground attack version, the BN. Right? But that's what they've sold.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole nose from like the intakes forward is wrong.
Yep.
There is a correction set out there. I bought it and it's garbage. It was the most disappointing pieces of resin I've ever seen.
So the worst thing is you're telling everyone all the faults about these kits. How are you going to sell them?
Like I said, people will buy these things, and if you don't want to build it into the ground attack version, you can do that. It's fine. I hadn't gone ahead and like bought all the aftermarket for it yet. Anyway, it's just what came inside the the special edition box.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a little bit of photo etch and some things, but that's about it.
Yep.
It's not balls to the wall, so to speak.
Oh, cool.
It's a shame because it's a cool plane, it's a cool boxing, it's a cool kit, everything. It's really cool, but what I want to do is the ground attack version, and what's available is not up to snuff, in my opinion.
Weren't all the MiG-23s all supposed to be ground attack? There was no. No, it's a swing wing version, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought they were all ground attack.
No.
Oh, well, some were actually done as interceptors.
I don't know enough.
I don't know enough.
I just like cool Russian classic plane from the
They always like the ones that had like the spade nose rather than the conical nose. They got the nose that's more flattened and points down like a duck's bill.
All right.
They looked all right. They were more the ground attack version in my.
I'm not sure which one's which, but there are distinct differences on the side profile.
But why not build it as the not a ground attack one? If it's still a cool aircraft.
Nah.
I built one years ago, the old Eshy kit.
Yeah.
Which was great till the decals fell off a few years later.
No, I mean, like the decals and schemes in it are really good because it's a typical Eduard boxing. They did their homework. They've got their information there. A lot of them. There's only one of them that's actually in Russian service. The rest of them are a Czech service because it's obviously Eduard's Czech company.
Yep.
And some of them have got like mismatched wings with different camouflage on that mismatched wing. It's really interesting stuff. It's a really interesting boxing. Great.
So if you're
quality
not too
decals.
If you're not too crazy about correct and being, well, say the term ultra rivet counter, it'd be the ultimate.
Yeah, but I mean, like you could persevere with it. It's not like you couldn't build it, but I don't slum myself like that, so to speak.
Slumming.
You should see this resin. It's really nasty. I mean, like you could probably get it together. It looks like you can tell where they've used the kit parts and then cut portions out of it and then replaced the rest of it with like epoxy putty and then sculpted this thing.
Yeah.
And the panel lines aren't even straight that they've put into it. It looks like a kid's drawn like a line in the sand with a stick.
So it's a real pure garage kit sort of thing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But it did come with a canopy that's clear, made of resin, and
what were the instructions like
for the little replacement? Well, this is not
Couldn't be any worse than the instruction set I got with me Aussie Stewart conversion. I got the other week.
It's not bad. Like there's not a lot there to get wrong. I mean, like cockpit tub goes into two halves that then glue onto the front of the plane. Because I think you saw the instructions to that Stewart conversion I got for doing the Australian. Yeah.
They're the worst instructions I've ever seen. Like two very badly photocopied pictures of a Stewart with some red dots here and there to mark where the bits
have you mentioned
go.
that yet?
No.
Okay, so Ian,
I'm trying to remember the name of the company. It was E something. I remember it was E something, but it's a nice. The parts are nice.
Yes,
but the instructions
basically
are just freaking woeful.
Yeah, they basically just printed out two
black and white photos.
Two black and white photos of actual two bad photos of Stewarts. They're not even photos of Stewarts sitting in museums or anything like that. They're just little they look like Bigfoot photos of like something off in the distance kind of thing.
Something they're swiped off.
And then they've thrown like red circles over like the areas where they've replaced.
This is where part number 8's supposed to go. Well, what? All I see is a black blob.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. That's about it.
Shocking. So.
Anyway.
And the worst thing is I don't have the right correct Stewart to do that conversion now anyway, because it's the old Tamiya kit you got to use.
That's always something.
So things are speeding up for us. We've got 80 days, 11 hours and 29 minutes at the time of recording before we arrive in Nationals in Omaha.
Yes.
And on top of that, about a month before that, we've got our competition here in Melbourne, which is the 16th of June, which I might also add that on the bench, we're actually sponsoring the People's Choice Award for this particular show.
For Melbourne Model Expo.
And tomorrow is May, so we've got June taken up with our Model Expo, and then in July we're off over to the States. So things are, because you and I were talking over at breakfast, and we thought, it's 100 days yet before we get head off. It's not. It's only 80 days,
80
man.
80 days, yeah, I know.
Getting closer.
Was it about 10 weeks or something?
3 of us on the aircraft together. Yeah, look out. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you guys.
Sure.
What kits are you planning to put into Model Expo, and what kits are you planning to take over to the States?
Well, I'll answer the second one first, because that's easy. I'm going to take my Musaru Cup Gundam.
Okay.
Into that.
Sure.
Ian? Oh, and sorry, and as for Model Expo, oh man, I've got a heap. I've got a couple of rockets I'm going to put in. I've got a tank I'm going to put in. No aircraft.
What tank?
I'm going to do that Polish tank.
Oh,
the
sci-fi tank.
Sci-fi tank.
Oh, I'm going to enter our little minifigures that we did as a group build.
Oh yeah.
Oh, at Expo.
Yeah,
that's a good idea actually.
Yeah, I'm going to enter him under OTB. That'd be really funny. I don't know if I could do that or not, but I'll try. Yeah, that's about it. Ian, what about you?
Well, we all know what I'm taking to Omaha.
No, we don't, Ian. Tell us what you're taking to Omaha.
I've still got to make the box for it. I'm going to make a box. I've designed it up. I've spoken to Dave about it. He thought it's a great idea. I'm making a box, and I'm taking my USS England. So I'm taking a ship all the way over to the States.
Ooh, look out!
Yep. So I'm going to make it. I've designed up a box where I can just slip the base in, and since it's secured to the base, I can put the box upside down, flip it, and it's not going to move.
Carry-on luggage.
Carry-on luggage, of course.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm letting that get thrown around by low-wage monkeys. I've seen the footage of what they do to people's bags on aeroplanes.
And what about Model Expo? What are you taking there to put in?
Interesting thought. I think maybe, I don't know, I've got so many kits I've built since then. Yeah, I suppose it'd be on the day, really, because usually, like nowadays, because I don't trophy hunt anymore. I used to do that in my younger years. Now I just go in there and just chuck a couple of kits in.
Have you entered the USS England in?
No. I might do that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, might be an idea. Enter that.
But then you can't take it. You couldn't. Could you, in good conscience, then take it across to Nats to enter it in there after Expo?
Well, I don't think there's going to be any problem.
No, there's not.
Should there be a problem with me taking it overseas?
No, there's not.
No. Well, so yeah, no, not a problem at all. If it's going to like conflict or create problems, yeah, of course I wouldn't.
No, there's no problems.
But yeah, maybe my Canadian machine gun carrier, I might chuck that in for Expo.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool. That's a nice little kit you made there.
Yeah, it turned out all right.
Or you could do the one that you did for the 48-hour build.
Yeah, I promised I'll put that in. Yes, I'll chuck that little in.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
It's too bad you can't put the Shikaku in.
Why? It's never been entered.
Yeah, I know, but it's got some things to fix.
Yeah, I know.
I've got
well, the only fault, really, is my own, and that was one of the aerials. One of the aerials is slightly on an angle, which means I've got to break it off.
Oh, okay.
I thought the deck was lifting.
No, yeah, that's not my fault. Well, that's in a way my fault for actually believing the instructions and saying it's going to self-adhere rather than put glue down myself. But yeah, it's lifted. Actually, I haven't looked at it for about 6 months, so it's probably lifted a lot more since then.
What about your little diorama of the on the Pacific Beach?
What's that one?
Do you remember there was like a little diorama you had of two guys? I think they had like an anti-tank gun.
Oh, the 37mm US anti-tank gun.
Yeah.
With a Marine guy standing next to it.
Mm.
Yeah, I could throw that in. Yeah, there's a few things I could throw in. Yeah,
pretty much anything you did for the
last few years I could pop in.
Yeah, it's been that long.
That's right.
Yeah. What about you, Julian?
Off the top of my head, there's the Lotus Esprit.
Yes.
That I built.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that
to Nats, to the US?
Oh, jeez. There's no chance of it winning if I took it over there.
Dude, if we're taking something over to Nats, you're going to take something over as well.
Of course. I agree. But there's no chance that's winning anything over there.
Well, I'm not going over there to win.
Because, car modelers over there are on probably like a really high level.
No, they are, yeah.
You know?
Well, you better think about something to take.
Like something that has a chance of winning here would probably not even place at all.
But
you wouldn't be in the top 20, I don't think.
Well, here's the thing. Are you going over there to trophy hunt? You're just going over there to enter the comp.
I suppose.
There you go. That answered the question.
I guess, yeah.
Take the lighters.
I kind of want to build something between now and then and
how many you got? 80 days, man. In fact, less, because we actually fly out about 5 days before that. So you've only got 75 days.
Right, whatever. I mean...
And on top of that, you've got Model Expo.
It's not like I couldn't build one in that amount of time. I just probably won't.
Very true.
I know what you're like.
No, I mean, when if I'm building for an actual goal, I can move along pretty quickly. Actually,
really,
like the last.
Really, can you?
Yes, I can. And that's the reason why the last 2 years, because of the pandemic. Yeah, it's killed my motivation quite a lot.
Oh, yeah,
for a lot of people,
blame it on the pandemic, man.
For a lot of modelers, right? It's like, oh, look at all this free time I got. Let me just build all the things that I've been trying to get at for a long time. But I was already building a lot of things prior to that, right?
Mm.
So I didn't need to, if anything, the cancellation of all the shows just killed my motivation. Because also like, oh, I've got to get this done in time for that, and I've got to get this time, None of that happens. Like, what's the urgency? I'll just take it easy, and then I took it too easy.
Too easy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, well, you better think of something.
Yep.
Yeah.
He will.
Well, given that he asked us for it and put us on the spot.
Yep.
Well, that's because I'm looking for motivation and camaraderie,
Have a lot of fire under your ass. That'll get you motivated.
Too true.
Let's have a look at what's in the mailbag, shall we?
Yeah.
And Whitey wrote in from us from Model Geeks. And he said, hello, Whitey from Model Geeks here. While listening to episode 135 and 136, you referenced John Byron's technique of floating decal in solution to allow it to settle. But it was the discussion on the canopy deck cord, such as on the Harriers, that really caught my attention, as they can be tricky. And the solution is vinyl deck cords from Flying Leathernet Decals. I just used one on my FLD on his AV8B that he just recently built, and they went down easily and looked great when applied. Flying Leathernet Decals does them for both the Harrier and also the T45. Take care. Look forward to hoisting a few coldies with you guys in Omaha.
That we are, Whitey.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And we need to get in contact with Whitey to see what the heck we need to do when we get to DC.
Yes.
Because Whitey and D-Ran will both know what we should be looking at. And they've got a good idea, but we need to sort of... We need to touch base with those
Space
dudes.
Museum is a must.
Yeah. So, thanks, Whitey. Next one. Let's have a look. Jonathan Byron writes in, "Hi, Dave. I was thrilled to hear my email read out on the last episode of On the Bench. You did so well, except the part where you mispronounced my name. But don't worry, everyone is dyslexic when it comes to pronouncing Byron, not Byron. You are not alone. Love it as
Brian.
always. Very best, John.
Yeah, you did it again. Right. It's Brian.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you said Byron.
I'm winding him up. He wrote an email in, so I'm going to wind him up. No worries, John. Thanks, mate. Appreciate that.
Here we go.
I get so many of these crank calls coming through on my phone lately.
Mine tells me.
We're in the middle of an election here in Australia, federal election. Of course, you get all the politicians sort of sending you messages, or you're getting surveys that they want you to talk about. It just drives me nuts, man.
Yes.
Anyway. And the only other one we've got in comes from Neil Farja. I'll say this, that's his right name.
Farja.
Nicholas. And he writes in, "Hello, benchers. Hello from the adopted island of Australia, also known as the Best Islands, which is New Zealand. Thanks for mentioning the Models for Heroes 48-hour build. It was a really cool weekend. It turned into, and the banter went well. And it's very well worth working through all the different time zones to see different tips from around the world. And he hopes next year to get a larger New Zealand contingent taking part. Anyway, I was sent a small package from the team in the UK as being a supporter draw winner. And he's actually attached a photo which has some stickers from the Just Making Conversation podcast.
Oh, cool.
That's very cool.
Very cool.
And also, Nick was the guy who was building in the 48 scale.
The Chinook.
He was doing the firefighting one. Remember that?
Oh, yes. Now, that was a heck of a big project to do in 48 hours.
Yeah, and then he was gutted because he had some bleed underneath the tape that he put down.
Yeah, that's right.
But still, that was a mighty effort, Nick, for
definitely
doing it. So
definitely agree.
That was such a fun weekend.
I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Which is in October.
It is.
But it's not for charity.
No, it's just a fun one.
Yeah, between us and the Dutchies. And
we need to talk about getting some stickers for On the Bench to take with us.
Yeah, we'll be doing that. Some stickers. Maybe some, an idea also, maybe some beverage coolers.
Oh, yeah.
Or as we call them here, stubby holders.
Yeah.
But you're going to put that in luggage.
What, the stickers?
No, the stubby holders.
Yeah, stubby holders.
Easy.
We'll have a look around. We'll think about. We'll look for some swag to sort of take with us.
Yeah. Got to make our presence felt.
We do indeed. I think that's it for the mailbag stuff. So maybe we need to have another short break. Hear from one of our other sponsors. Oh, in fact, actually, we need to hear from Chris Meddings. He's got something to talk about. So let's hear what Chris has to say.
Hi, everyone. This is Chris from Inside the Armour Publications. Like many of you, I've been watching the news over the past few days and have been appalled by the suffering and hardship inflicted on the people of Ukraine as they attempt to flee the war in their country. I decided to reach out to other companies and modelers in the hobby and to see if we couldn't do something to support the charities that are helping these people. The results of this is the book Models for Ukraine. The book features only models manufactured by Ukrainian manufacturers as built by modelers from all over the world who have gladly and freely given their time and work to support this charity effort. The full profits of the book will go directly to humanitarian aid. Our printer have given us an incredible discount at less than cost, and all of those involved have given their work for free. The only thing that will be deducted from the price of the book is the transaction fees and a small cost of printing. Everything else will go directly to humanitarian charities to support people in Ukraine. If you'd like more information, please go to www.insidethearmour.com. It will be sold there and in other sources as I talk to them and make arrangements for them to sell the book as well. Please do buy the book or alternatively, please do find a charity such as Red Cross, Disasters Emergency Committee or others to do what you can to support women, children and civilians fleeing this awful war. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris, and fantastic effort once again that you're doing there to supporting the people in Ukraine. And it's been wildly popular book, so please do go to the website that was mentioned just then and order yourself a copy. Okay, the Falcon has written in. He's got some model news for us.
Ooh.
Let's see what he's got to say. Let me just go back in and make an adjustment here so I can see where we're going. Fantastic. All right, aircraft news. Armour Hobby are currently working on the 72nd scale novelty, which I believe is Eurospeak for a new tool kit. Apart from saying what scale it will be, they're giving nothing away, so feel free to speculate. This new kit will come instead of the planned release of Armour's much anticipated 48 scale Hurricane 2C Expert set, which was slated for release in June 2022. According to Armour's newsletter, we probably won't see the quarter scale Hurricane until about September 2022. Armour will soon release another version of their 72nd scale Mustang. The new Expert set kit will be an F6C Recon Mustang. There'll be 4 marking options, 1 French, 3 USAAF, one of which has a shark mouth.
Cool. Gotta love them shark mouth.
You do love your shark mouth, don't you?
I do.
Oh, excuse me, frog in my throat. Edward are set to release the profile pack version of their very fine 48 scale Zilm Z226 Trenner. There have been a couple of earlier duo boxings, but if you're one of those people who have been holding out for the single Trenner boxing because you only want one, then you don't have to wait much longer, you cheapskates. RS Models are to release a couple of limited edition kits of their recent 72nd scale Heinkel 112. The Heinkel 112 V10 with the DB601A engine and the Heinkel 112 V11 with the DB601A engine. The V10 has 3 marking options, a German test aircraft, which is real, and a couple of rather dubious looking what-if schemes. And the V11 comes with 3 marking options, a German test aircraft, a Japanese test aircraft, both of which are real, and another dubious what-if scheme. Plus Models are about to release their 172nd scale kit of the US Navy interwar torpedo bomber, the Martin T4M wheel version. 4 marking options are provided, all 4 machines operating from US aircraft carriers. 1 from Saratoga with a red tail and 3 from Lexington with yellow tails. The kit will be a short-run injection styrene with some resin parts. Oh, and you may have worked out on your own, there will be a float version too. 3 marking options are provided, but I just can't be bothered listing them.
Good on you, Falcon.
Oh, gee, he's getting a bit lazy in his old age, isn't he? I'll tell you. Many of us were concerned about the future of Ukraine's model industry, but it seems they are very resilient as they are back releasing kits. And I've got to say, I've been quite surprised by this and pleased at the same time that they've been sort of pumping out production.
Yep.
ICM Models have released a new version of their 132nd scale Bell AH-1 Cobra. It is a very colourful AH-1G Arctic Cobra. Can't help but wonder if there even is an Arctic Cobra. Sure, polar bears are scary, but an attack helicopter seems a bit extreme. ICM are also releasing their brand new 48 scale Gotha GO242B German World War II landing glider. According to the instructions, 2 marking options are provided, while other sources say 3. Unfortunately, neither has a shark mouth like the one option of the old Italeri 72nd scale kit. I would say that this is a missed opportunity, but then maybe it's a different version. What do I know? Still with ICM, and they are releasing another 48 scale B26. It's going to be the AB26K Counter Invader early version. Rather nice box art, which shows a B26K streaking along at low level over the Congo. Clearprop are to release a starter kit version of their 72nd scale. By the way, they do both 72nd and 48 scale kits of their Curtiss H750. Beg your pardon, yes.
H750.
Which is the type apparently used by Argentina. Clearprop have also released the advanced boxing of their 72nd scale Mitsubishi Ki-51 Sonia reconnaissance version. Boat news. He's been listening to us, the Falcon. He's putting some ship stuff in there.
I think the Cormorant put a little bit of fire under him.
Yeah, he did, yes. Micromere will soon release a 135th scale kit of the American Civil War era CSS David torpedo boat.
Ooh.
If you are thinking the American Civil War ended before torpedoes were a thing, then you would be right and wrong. The torpedo on the CSS David was a spar torpedo, which is basically an explosive charge on the end of a longish type stick. Does that sound like a good idea? I don't know. Ask the crew of the Huntley.
The Huntley, yes.
That's very funny. Takem are releasing a 72nd scale kit of the 28 centimetre SKC/34 guns from the battleship Scharnhorst B turrets. Takem's wording, not mine, that the kit also includes metal barrels. Gee, in 72nd scale, they're going to be huge metal
quite
barrels.
Large, yeah. Mind you, I've got the 35th scale Mark 5, I think, turret that I've got from Takem. It's got metal barrels.
Yeah, okay. Military vehicle news now. Gecko models are showing box art and CAD renders of their new 35th scale kit, which is a British Army open cab 30 4x2 GS truck. It is essentially an open body truck version of the yet to be released Austin K2Y heavy ambulance. The CAD shows separate cabin and rear canvas to be modelled in erected or stowed configurations. This means you can have the cab roof up and the rear canvas up also, or the cab roof down and the rear canvas down, or the cab roof up and the rear canvas down, or the cab roof down and the rear canvas up. The variations are literally endless. We need to have a word with this. He's getting a bit carried away. Gecko will be releasing two versions of their 35th scale K2Y heavy ambulance. The standard version with a special boxing with a figure. The figure representing His Royal Highness, Her Royal Highness, Princess Elizabeth, in uniform as she looked when serving in the Auxiliary Transport Corps during World War II. Gecko has shown the artwork for the special boxing a long while back, but it has radically changed for the release. Princess Elizabeth, as she was back then, has been airbrushed out, and all mentioned of her or Austin or the Katie have been removed. Not for the first time, somebody must have had a word with Gecko. I blame Airfix. Well, there you go. Isn't it interesting?
You know, it's a missed opportunity. You know what? You could do like a double boxing where you've got like a Bentley that has the more recent queen. You know, like it was like 20 years ago when she got caught.
Speeding
in a Bentley.
But that wasn't the queen who got caught speeding. It was.
No, it was the queen.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought. Oh, okay. I thought it was Prince Philip.
No, didn't he run people over?
No, he had an accident. That's right. Oh.
Didn't he run people over?
Oh, jeez.
Get out of the way, peasants.
Fine miles from Japan to release a 135th scale GJ SDF artillery tractor with a Type 96 mortar, as well as a mortar and tractor. There are a number of related accessories, must-haves for the fashion-conscious mortarman. Takem have released two sorts of... Takem have two sorts of new 135th releases for 22nd, or for May, I should say. An M114 early and late with interior 2-in-1 kit and a limited edition German Gepard, I should say, A1, A2, Spag 2 in one kit. Now, the German Gepard, that's the anti-air.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Which is now being sent to Ukraine from Germany, but has been blocked by Switzerland somehow.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Interesting. For the first time, we have seen... It is the first time we've seen the M114 offered with interior, so it's fair to call that new, but I'm not sure what it is about the Gepard that makes it new. Apparently, it has been offered as a 2-in-1 kit before. The artwork provided has a blue and yellow background, so maybe it will have Ukrainian markings, which might be jumping the gun a bit, as I don't think Ukraine has taken delivery as yet. No, they haven't. The training's actually happening in either Poland or Germany for the crews to operate it, is my understanding. That's it. That's all for now from the Falcon. Very slim pickings for this fortnight, he says. Well, there you go. Do you gents have any news at all?
Is it Varga? I think it might be Varga. Is bringing out a 135th scale Bob Semple tank.
Oh,
yeah. Come on, New Zealand's contribution to the Second World War. Contribution, that's the word.
There you go, that's what you're looking for.
The good old Bob Semple tank.
Yeah.
I'd get one because it's just so niche. It's just such a wacky looking thing. It looks like it's got corrugated iron on the side. Even though it wasn't corrugated iron, they were just like little angled plates.
Yes. It's known as the world's worst tank.
Yeah. Too top heavy. Just on a standard tractor chassis. Or bulldozer chassis, I should say.
Look, it's not like it's the kind of thing you could almost scratch build, right? It's the bottom components.
Yeah, the bottom components. The running gear that'd be the difficult part. The rest of it's all basically just straight angle panels.
Yes. But I would like to see you go to New Zealand and enter in a competition over there. And have like a nice big fern logo on the base of it. just to see how many salty people you could roll up.
It's too true. What about you, Julie? You got anything new?
No, not really.
No?
No, not really. Lately I've just been, wandering about the YouTube, and I came across there's this channel that I sometimes look at, and they feature they do like sort of walkarounds of hobby shops in Japan. Right?
Yeah.
And some of them are really weird. Like one of them was a case where the guy retired and the hobby shop in his town closed, so he decided to open it up in his own house.
So you got to walk through his lounge room to get to the store.
Yeah. No, sort of. You enter through the front door, and then directly to the right there's a staircase, and it's all the entire upstairs area.
Right.
There's another one that's a similar sort of deal, except it like almost all of his house, I think, is set up like that, including the upstairs where they've got like spray booths and things like that.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Another video where it was a anime and plastic model cafe in Osaka.
Mm-hmm.
And it was quite weird because it was like when they were filming it, it's very, very small. Like it almost wouldn't be much bigger than this room.
Mm-hmm.
But it was packed. There was like 6 people in there.
So 6 people and it's packed.
Yeah. Because there's not much room in there at all.
Yep.
But there's a display cabinet in the corner filled with Gundams, and people are trading. And they've got like a TV up on the wall with some Japanese, 20-something-year-old woman building model kits on it. And
oh man, we got to get to Japan. We got to go to Japan.
Yeah, one day. One day we'll get there.
But I mean, like you can't visit all these places. Well,
why not? Why can't you?
Because they're all over the place.
Yeah, all right. Okay. Well, let's
like one of them, one of these videos was of a guy who again made a hobby shop out of his house, and it was so rural enough that right next to his house there's rice paddies, and they even said if you want to come here, certain vehicles can't get to it because they're too wide.
All right. Well, maybe we won't go to those extreme places, but we got to get to the hobby shops over there. Got to get to the show to have a look.
Shizuoka.
Oh,
the Shizuoka.
Shizuoka. We got to go there.
It properly. Yeah,
we got to go there.
Yeah. That's a big deal because it's like that's the town, like that's the city. Sorry, that is the headquarters of Bandai.
Yeah.
the headquarters of Oshima, right? Off the top of my head, that's what I know. That's where their headquarters are situated.
We have to go to Tamiya. We're going to go there.
Yes, and Tamiya.
Yeah.
I don't know about Hasegawa, though. In any case...
pencil in 2024. 2 years away. You got plenty of time to save.
Yep,
I'm telling you what, after you've been across to Omaha this year, you guys are going to get bitten by the travel bug.
Oh,
well, I know you will, Ian.
More than likely, yeah. I've been travelling since I was about 12. So, yeah, it's been over 40 years.
Yeah.
Since I've been overseas.
Let's have a think about that. Let's get this trip out of the way, and then we'll sort of think about what we're going to do next.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Too true.
All right, let's have a very short break, and we'll be back with our interview. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the show Neil Stokes, who's come on board to have a bit of a chat about AMPS. And I must at this point thank Dave Morris and Brad Belsham for sending me emails and being your advocate and pushing hard to get you on the show. They were they were particularly great advocates, saying we should have you on, Neil. So obviously you got some fan base out there.
Well, I guess good to be here, and thanks to Brad and Dave, and of course to other Dave and the rest of the on the bench crowd for having us. As you can guess, I am not exactly your average American. In fact, I've been here. God, I've been here like 20 years now.
When you say been here, where's here?
Here is the northeast United States. I'm actually about 80 k's west of New York City.
Oh, okay.
So, when I first got here, I was living just outside the city, over on Long Island, and that was just too much. I'm a Perth boy, and I lived on the New South Wales Central Coast for a bunch of years. So, I like big cities, but I don't like to live in them. So this was, kind of like equivalent to living in Gosford, where I used to live outside of Sydney, and now it's like, now I'm just outside of New York. So,
lovely. And so, born in Western Australia, ended up in Gosford, then somehow found yourself over in the US. How did that all work out?
Well, I got offered a job here. I used to work for IBM, which stands for I've Been Moved. And I did 30 plus years with them and 26 countries. So eventually they said to me, hey, you want to go to New York? And I said, oh, yeah, that sounds like fun. And so this is where I wound up settling.
Wow, fantastic.
And took a couple of months to get on my feet and get organized. And then I started looking around, and they're like, how do I get back into the some hobby network over here? And let me think. Yeah, it was probably a couple of months after that. Anyway, I got on the old Missing Links discussion forum. Dave, I know you like links to, and the other forums and stuff.
Yep.
But anyway, this bloke posts back, where you are, there's a couple of good hobby shops. Here they are. And so on the Saturday, I went looking around, and the first one was good, and the second one was even better. A bunch of good aftermarket military stuff there from Aber and Edward, and all the usual kind of etched brass guys. And so I'm standing there with this guy. We're kind of like going back and forth across this rack of stuff, and like, excuse me, and and I was just blown away. I said, God, you never get this stuff in Oz. And he goes, Oz? He said, are you Neil? And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, I'm George. That was the guy who put me onto these hobby shops. And 20 years later, he's my best mate. He was best man at my wedding. So
fantastic.
So how long have you been over in the States for?
Well, this time 2004.
Right.
But I lived in Texas for 3 years back in the 90s. Got a temporary job for 3 years over there, and that was a lot of fun. My daughter was born there, and but she's back in Perth now. With she's all grown up and moved out and got her own life. But so I get back hopefully Christmas time. So
Well, as you know, as you
for Christmas every year until the pandemic, but you know how that is.
That's right.
As you may know or may not know, we're actually heading over to the States for Nats. So we're going to be in Omaha.
Oh, right! You're coming to do the IPMS Nats.
We are, yes,
absolutely, yes.
I have not yet made my decision on whether or not to go out to that one, because that'll be a fly job for me. But I will try to make it.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Boost the Aussie contingent.
Yeah, you'll just totally confuse them with the accents. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, it's just, you get such an interesting accent. You're sort of half Aussie and half American with your accent, so that'll really sort of...
Well, that's the funny thing. I speak a particular variant of English called Seppo Strine. Right?
I love it.
I remember we were at a show a while back, and we were sitting there in a restaurant at lunchtime, and somebody just yells out across the room, "Neil, say something in Australian." So I just go, "The dingo's got my baby." Watch all the Americans cringe.
I love it.
So what's your modelling interests?
Oh, well, that's a, basically 1/35th scale military vehicles of varying kinds. I did mostly World War II. I've dived a little bit back into some World War I stuff. I'll do post-war, but usually Aussie. So I've got a bunch of 113s, Vietnam era stuff in the stash. I've got the gestation of an Aussie M1A1 Abrams. But I'm waiting for Mouse House had the conversion set, right? They went out of business. Yeah. Now there's a bloke over here who I found out like 3-4 weeks ago has bought the molds for that stuff.
Oh, really? That's interesting news.
And so I can't sort of tell tales out of school yet, because I don't think he's kind of formally up in production and stuff. But he was one of the vendors at our national show, the AMPS national show, back in the start of April. And I happened to mention something to him. He goes, "Oh yeah, I've got the molds." So I'm like, we will talk. So that'll be good, because I could probably scratch build the fridge on the bustle rack, which is the main part, and the umbrella and so on. But it's nicer to have it pre-done.
Well, I don't know if you're keeping up with your what's happening with the Australian Army, but we've bought the new Abrams as well.
Yeah. But I actually want to do some of the originals, the original Oscam stuff. So,
have you seen the?
But you guys you've now got the A2 as well.
Yeah. Yes. Well, soon we'll have the A2.
And you've seen the new camouflage pattern, the fish scales.
Yeah, that's actually done with mud in the field. Yeah,
it's quite good.
Yeah, it is quite good. Yeah, very nice.
So it looks like it's got fish scales down the side of it.
Yeah.
Ooh. Somebody will do that in Decals pretty soon.
Yeah, no doubt.
More than likely.
It's a bit hard because the guys out here, they'll tend to, and it started back in the early days, but they'll just use make a mud slurry up, just paint it on the side of the tank out of mud, and that way at the end of the exercise you can just wash it off with a hose. And apparently one of the last ones it did was fish scales. Sam Dwyer would probably know a bit more about that than what we do, but
of course he would.
There's a couple of pictures floating around. So you mainly build armour, and it's Aussie armour that you're interested in.
Yeah, I do delve into the odd other subject. Like my dad's a model railway guy, so I've got a whole armoured train sitting down there from Trumpeter that one of these days I'll build. And then I got into way back in the 80s. I started building the sci-fi stuff, the Machine Krieger genre.
Yes.
Well, it's funny you should say that because
that in recent years, because that's just exploded. So
it has.
A little bit of Star Wars, whatever takes my. I mean, the weirdest one just recently was Tacom's 1/350th scale Zeppelin.
Yes.
They Tacom sent, we have a review crew within AMPS, so we review probably 150 odd products in a year. One of which they sent us was the Zeppelin. We were like, well, that's not really kind of in our wheelhouse, but hey, they were good enough to send it to us, so we should review it.
Yeah.
So I ended up building this 60 centimeter long. The giant sausage, as I called it.
Yes. You mentioned Machine Krieger, and it's funny you should say that because Lincoln Wright just got in contact with me about half hour before he did started the show. And he's got some new books out, so he's coming on the show next fortnight.
Oh, that's awesome! Yeah, I just ordered his new one. The first MacBook in English, which is terrific. I've got all the Japanese ones, but all I can do is kind of look at the pictures like a 3-year-old, and and it actually it extends the 3-year-old thing as well because I tend to drool on them a bit as well. But some of those models are just wonderful. I mean, Link does great work, and Max Watanabe, and of course Yokoyama Sensei.
And Link is such a great person to have on the show too because he's absolutely hilarious to listen to, and you can't stop him talking. I reckon that boy would talk underwater.
I'll tell you, we have quite a big Maschinen Krieger crew here, like in the Northeast, and for a few years back, we were getting together quite regularly, and so we did. We had Zoom calls. I think Link was still living in Japan at the time, but he zoomed in to the meeting, and we were at my mate George's house, and they had a Chihuahua, which they kind of sat on my shoulder, sort of semi-parrot, and Link's daughter was trying to pet the dog through the screen. She was about like 3 at the time. So
very cool.
That's so funny. So
I mean, it's funny how small a world it is these days, and how it really is a global community.
And it's not so much that too. It's people who, when you first sort of step into the hobby, you look up on, you think they're on this huge pedestal, but they're just a little bunch of down-to-earth guys who are quite happy to sort of, sit and talk and share their knowledge and all that sort of stuff. That's what blows me away about the hobby, how sort of how much of a community it is.
Mm-hmm.
Which sort of brings us in a roundabout way to perhaps open the door to talk about that strange cult that is known as AMPS.
Which we don't have here.
Which we don't have here in Australia, and we've got no idea what it is.
No.
Apart from the only thing I know AMPS is something to do with that dark magic called electricity. That's all I know AMPS as.
Well, yes, we refer to ourselves as AMPsters. But I mean, AMPS is the Armour Modelling and Preservation Society, which is a very uncreative name because it pretty much describes exactly what we do. We're a hobby club. Focused on military vehicles, not just armored stuff, but other things as well. We also do figures and sci-fi. Technically speaking, we do kind of ground effect sci-fi. So a lot of Maschinen Krieger, Gundam stuff. As we like to put it in Star Wars, you can bring an AT-AT or a snow speeder, but not an X-wing,
right?
To our shows. Now that said, we did kind of bend the rules severely one year because a guy turned up at one of the local shows here in Connecticut. And he brought I think it was the Fine Molds kit of the Millennium Falcon, like the 1/72nd scale thing. This was spectacular. It was just gorgeous. And the chief judge looked at it and said, well, it doesn't matter if it doesn't fit into any of the categories. We're putting it out there on the table. This thing's just, we're not denying people the opportunity to see it. So we do a lot of model stuff, and we also try to get on the preservation side of things as well. So, we have a lot of relationships with full-scale restoration groups, preservation groups, museums, that kind of thing. At our show a couple of weeks back, we had the guys from Fort Benning zoomed in and gave us a whole spiel on the training support facility that they're building down there, which is taking a lot of the stuff that used to be at the U.S. Army Ordnance Museum in Maryland, used to be at Fort Knox out in Kentucky. They're consolidating a lot of this stuff. They got this massive air-conditioned, hangar is about the best description for it. With I got space for about 250 vehicles.
Wow,
that's huge.
And and it's just so great to see all this stuff that was for years just rusting away in open fields in Maryland, and now they're restoring all of it, taking it back to original paint schemes, and storing it in a place which is just, I say, it's a magnificent facility. Because one of the things the U.S. Army has been doing recently is anybody who goes through the Armor and Cavalry School these days has to go through a history course to understand the history of the service and kind of where they're coming from and what they're stepping into. And so this is not a museum; it's a training support facility, and they're not open to the public all the time. But if you ask nicely, you can get access. They do have open days periodically. When AMPS had a show down in Atlanta, back in the early part of the year, February, March, I think, they organised a field trip from the show, and they bust a bunch of people over there, and they got a guided tour. So these are the sorts of things that we try to have, those kinds of preservation activities as well. And that can be anything. The relationship can be anything from we're a donor to, hey, a bunch of our guys will descend on a memorial or something and sandblast it and repaint it for people.
Oh, you go that far? Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, you guys are probably aware of the Jacques Littlefield collection that was out in California for a long time.
Vaguely aware of it, yeah.
A lot of that went over to the American Heritage Museum in Massachusetts, and a big bunch of our guys who are ex-tankers are volunteers at the museum. And just a while back they were posting pictures of themselves, taking this M60 down to bare metal and repainting it up again.
That'd be so much fun.
It would be.
It'd be so much fun.
Oh yeah, it's the old story about boys and the size of their toys.
Yes.
So can you run us through you've given us an overview of AMPS itself. What's the history behind AMPS and sort of why was it formed?
Well, it was born because I think there was a bunch of folks back in the days. It goes back about 25 years, so it's beyond my. I came in 2005, but before that, they decided that we wanted to have an organisation, a model club that was obviously run by modelers for modelers, but really focused on the armour side of things. And one of the principles of it is rather than just sort of you bringing your models to competition and do you win, do you not, whatever. Trying to give people a chance to improve their skills and just kind of build people up and help them improve in the hobby. It was founded by a bunch of guys. One of whom you'll probably recognise, Cookie Sewell. His name's been around in military modelling and all the magazines and stuff for many years. He was actually at our show couple of weeks back because he lived not far from there. We were down in Virginia and he's up in Maryland. But it was it had its ups and downs in the early days. I came in 2005. Was my first show. Actually, I joined in 2004, but I really went to the national show for the first time in 2005. Loved it. Had a great time. Met a bunch of people whose names I'd only seen in books, and like you said before, it's a really great community. Nobody's up there on a pedestal. But Cookie was there, Steve Zaloga was there, Tom Yentz, who did all the Panzertrax books, it was just marvelous, And I think the thing that sets it apart is that focus on building up the modeler, and helping people improve their skills. Like, unlike most organizations, the judging system is quite different. You take a model to an AMPS show, it's going to get judged. Every model on the table gets scored according to a prescribed system. There's score sheets that get filled out. There's a comment section on there. So every model gets, from a team of 4 judges, gets 4 individual scores plus feedback on what they liked, what they didn't, and so on. And then at the end of that, we throw out the lowest score. We add up the other 3. You get a score out of 30. And that determines your eligibility for an award. So we have basic, intermediate, and advanced levels. So at the advanced level, if you get 28.5 out of 30, you're going to get a gold medal.
Right.
And if 2 or 3 or 4 people in the same category get that score, then we'll give out more than 1 gold medal. On the other hand, if nobody gets up to that level, we don't hand out any gold. And but then all the sheets are handed back to the modeler at the end of the show. So, like I said, you get to see exactly what people liked and didn't like about your.
You're getting some feedback.
Model. And well, that's it. And we make sure that it's constructive. Mm-hmm. So there's always a second check on all of the sheets. Like, no, you're not allowed to call the guy that. Not that it happens too much, but we make sure that that first of all the maths are done right, that the comments are constructive, and also that the scores aren't wildly divergent. If somebody's given somebody a 9 out of 10 and somebody's given him a 3,
there's something going on.
And then all of that then gets plugged into a system. Like I say, we punch a button. We've got a magnificent guy who set up all the online scoring system for us. It's all done with a web application, and it just prints out all the sheets, and we can say, Dave, you won a gold medal and a bronze medal for your items, and it's all just there, and we read them out, and simplifies all the admin side of it quite a bit.
The workload on the judges must be horrendous to be able to sit down and do that, though.
It does take a lot of manpower. That is that's the downside to it. But even some of the local IPMS clubs have kind of taken on aspects of it now. One of the local clubs we got, they just love the comment idea. So they still do the traditional kind of IPMS style judging, first, second, third in the category, but we take a bit longer, and every model gets some comments like, here's why we liked your model, here's why we didn't, and here's what we think you might want to improve on.
So if I'm not catching you off guard with this question, what's the that's my front doorbell going. It's Julian finally getting here who slept in. If I'm not catching you off guard with the question, what do you look at when you're actually judging or assessing the model?
Well, it's actually quite prescriptive. The scoring sheet is laid out with a number of there's 5 points for construction, and it's the basic things, did you fill the seam lines? Did you leave any gaps, et cetera, et cetera? There's and the other thing there is chassis and drivetrains and so on. Are the wheels all on the ground? You don't have any floaters. If it's a figure, are his feet properly on the ground? That sort of thing. And then detail work. Anything you added in there, tool stowage and stuff like that, did they get it right? There's 4 points for the finish. So but basic paint work, is your paint full of dirt, that kind of thing. Weathering, consistency. We've had models where there's all mud all over the tracks, but there's nothing on the wheels. And then the last point is degree of difficulty. So, if you built a Tamiya kit, where you can just slip the glue in and shake and bake and you're good to go, versus some of these resin kits where, you deserve a medal just for finishing the thing and not going insane. And like I said, then we add all of that up. You get a score out of 10. 4 judges, throw the lowest one out. Make sure the others are within about 1.5 points of each other, and then pass that on to the scorers.
Right. So, well, that's not too sort of different from IPMS, apart from the fact that you're looking at weathering and you're looking at degrees of complexity in the build. You're sort of adding those other two sort of things into it. And
the idea is to try to make it a little bit prescriptive to be consistent, so that we're not trying to judge models against each other. We're trying to judge them against a common standard.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yep.
So that way, if one guy gets a bronze and one guy gets a gold, then you can be reasonably sure that it's because it was a better build.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, 100%.
Yes.
100%. So, and Julian's just walking into the room.
Hello, Julian.
Hello,
Give him time to put his headphones on and sort of say good day to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Poor Julian, he slept through 2 alarms this morning, so it's why he's a bit late. Did you have breakfast yet? There's breakfast out there for you.
No, that's all right. I'll eat later.
Okay. Julian, I'd like to introduce you to Neil.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Julian.
So if you got a model competition, and I assume you guys have your version of the nationals, don't you, with AMPS?
Yeah, well, that was that was where Brad was kind of raving, and Dave, said, "Oh, you guys need to get on and talk to the benches down in Australia, because this was such a great experience." Which it is. We had our let me think, the first weekend in April we had our national show. We like to call it the international show, but it's probably 90% US and Canada. We get a bunch of Canadians come down, but with the club generally, I mean, we had people come over from the UK. We've got there's AMPS chapters in Mexico, the UK, one in Gibraltar. We got a Bulgarian chapter.
Wow.
There's a bunch of guys in Israel. So we've kind of got a worldwide presence, but it really did start out in the US, and that's kind of where we're strongest.
So with your big national one that you had back in April, I mean, how many models or entries would you have gotten for that particular?
Funny you should ask. We actually got 536 entries.
Wow,
that's a good amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not IPMS Nats, because we are solely military vehicles and diggers and a sci-fi sort of thing. But yeah, I mean it was pretty respectable. We were kind of panicking a bit because the show runs Friday, Saturday, except it doesn't, because what we used to do was set up on the Thursday night. And then we noticed that people in the vendor room were starting to do a little bit of trading on the Thursday night. So we sort of said, unofficially we'll open the show Thursday night. And then it got to, what if I want to register my models on the Thursday night? Oh, all right, we'll let you do that. So we officially opened the show at 5 o'clock on the Thursday. Now, normally we'll get the hardcore guys come in on Thursday night. It's the crew that are setting up that sort of thing. So we might get 20, 30, maybe 40 models registered on a Thursday night. This year we got 150.
Oh.
And we were like, oh God,
what have we got ourselves into?
That's looking like, as you said earlier, it takes a lot of manpower to judge the well, it's like we got to lock the doors and not let anybody out. It's like,
so with that then, and let me get this right. I think I understand. So as the model is actually registered, it's then judged straight away before it's taken out to the display table. Is that correct?
Yeah, we kind of have a bit of a pipeline where the you check your model in, and there's a bloke, we call him the ramrod. Neil, make sure your paperwork is right.
You're using words now that make me feel like I'm back on the gun line. Ramrod, really?
Well, it's kind of both our current president and our immediate past president were tankers. One of our recent vice presidents, who I kind of took over from, is an artillery guy. So he's an ex-battery commander. Our chief judge is a Marine tanker. There's a lot of retired and indeed even a few current serving service members there. But so anyway, the ramrod checks all the paperwork. He kind of makes sure that are you in the right category, because there's a few sort of twerks to the rules where if you enter your model and you enter it just as a regular model, we don't judge the groundwork or the base. But if you enter it as a vignette or a diorama, then we do. And we've had models in the past where the guys just entered it in the regular. I remember one was a Jeep, and the Jeep was nice, but the base he put it on and the figures and everything was gorgeous. And we were like, no, we actually went to him and said, look, we're going to move this to another category because we want to be able to take into account all the cool work you've done on the rest of the piece. So that's the sort of thing typically the ramrod does. Then the model goes into the funnel, and depending upon how we set it up and what the venue space is like, we can either have the models before judging either get put in the judging room and then where they're kind of hidden away. But in this year, we actually had them on tables along the wall where the judging room was, so that even before the model was judged, people could still go and have a look at it. And so then they get taken in. They go through the judging process. We try to keep it down to under like 10 minutes for each model, and then it goes on a cart and out to the display tables.
Wow!
And we use a highly complicated, sophisticated system of numbered sticky notes that go on the tray with each model, so that we try to get the models out in the same order that they came in.
Yep. Yeah. Fair enough. That makes sense.
So there's probably more detail than you wanted, but hey.
No, not at all. I mean, I'm sure the listeners will be intrigued. I'm certainly intrigued by it, and I'm just wondering, I get the IPMS side of stuff, and I think I get what AMPS, the way they do their judging, and it to me there's a lot to be said for the way that the AMPS is doing it in comparison to, say, the old school way. I mean, because with IPMS, it's the first, second, and third, and that's it. And both I've judged before, and Julian's judged under IPMS rules, and sometimes there's two kits there, and you're having to go in and find the most obscure fault just to get one above the other. Yeah. And, to my mind, both modelers, or sometimes even three models, have done such a fantastic job that it's a crying shame to let one sort of, leak to the top. I don't mean that in a condescending way, but one to leak to the top over the other one when you're having to look for such flaws to sort of, get a first, second, and third. And
I judge IPMS shows as well, so I know exactly what you mean.
And look, I'm not saying by any stretch of the imagination that IPMS judging is sort of the Mordor version of the modelling world, because it's not.
When you've got an IPMS NAS and you've got 4,000 models or something in the show, you can't do it the AMPS.
No, that's right.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And so we've got shows here where where AMPS and IPMS will get together, and we'll do we actually had the Old Dominion Open down in Virginia a while back. The AMP style, the military vehicle stuff is done AMP style, and the other categories, genres, if you will, are done IPMS style. And then we've got one of the local IPMS clubs here, as I said earlier. They use the standard IPMS way of doing things, but they thought, we like this comment idea, so they give a comment card for each of the models. So, there's a lot of sort of hybrid stuff that goes back and forth.
Yeah, they used to do that.
We all share ideas.
Yeah, they used to do that down here too with the Melbourne Model Expo. Have the comments, but they dropped that for some reason.
Because there's too many models to
too
judge.
Many kits. When you got 800 odd kits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and getting people to judge has always been the difficult part. Getting people to put their hand up to judge.
There's nothing.
We give them a T-shirt, but even then, it's still a bit.
Yeah, well, they give them free pizza.
We give free pizza here in Melbourne if you.
That's the most of the shows around here. Yeah, that's why we're all modelers of circumference.
Yeah, which I always find a really crazy thing, giving people a greasy pizza, but just before they're going to start judging and picking up other people's kits.
No, so the pizza comes after.
Oh, they do it. They did it after now.
They do it after.
Before they used to do it in between.
Oh, really?
You'd be halfway through judging, and all of a sudden someone would bring all the pizzas in.
You know what? It is in between. I just remembered it is in between.
otherwise, you're going to get the guys who come grab the slice of pizza and nick off. So
that's right. That's
not so much that it's in judging the rest of the models with all the greasy hands and everything. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
They also give away kits, by the way.
Yeah, they're true.
There's a raffle, and they're not very good kits at that.
Yep. Oh well.
I say give away the stuff the vendors can't sell.
Something like that. Yeah.
So there's nothing stopping the AMPS style being applied to aircraft models or ship models or cars at all. It's.
I mean, your scoring sheets would have to be a bit different. But then again, we do that. We have different sheets for the for figures and for diorama stuff as well. So you just got to sort of adapt the how the scoring is. The points are allocated.
So AMPS. So you call yourself a club with chapters that are hanging off it.
Of clubs. It's kind of set up similar to IPMS in the sense that you got chapters. And each club is kind of self-sufficient, but we all sort of come together and it's not even sort of AMPS alone. I mean, I've been to. Actually, tomorrow I'm going to my third IPMS show of the year. So, the IPMS guys come help us out with our shows, and we go help them out. It's again, we're all the same community.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So, what's the benefits for the average listener who's listening in here who likes building model armour? What's the advantage for them to sort of sign up to their local chapter?
Well, first of all, you got to have a local chapter, of course. But there's on the club as a whole side. We have a magazine that we put out 6 times a year called Boresight. It's typically it's full color, about 35 odd pages, reviews. Modeling articles, history related articles, stuff like that. For international members, we had a bit of a problem in that the postage was killing us. So we've just recently launched an online version of the magazine. So that means for folks outside the US and Canada, the membership used to be $40 US. Now it's $25 for if you go with the online version. So anybody gets access to the magazine. You log into our website with your member ID. You get the latest edition. You also get right now we've got online editions going back 10 years. We're working on the rest, so we will have articles going back all the way back to 25 years.
Excellent.
There's also a discount program, 10% off a lot of the vendors who work with us a lot. Some of those are international folks. David Doyle Books, for example, there's I know he does a lot of work all over the world. The other part of it is the review crew, so you get access to all the reviews. Like I said, I think we did 149 last year.
Wow!
And we're and that's everything from kits to books, magazines, tools,
sure,
paints and finish, all over the even a Zeppelin. The couple of our guys actually got they sent us the 2 flak towers that they did in 1/350th scale.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Yep. Those are spectacular. One of the guys brought his to the national show, and it was like, wow,
So if there was somebody listening to this who perhaps resides outside the US and are considering, hey, this is a great idea, wouldn't mind sort of starting up my own chapter, how would they go about doing that?
Just go to our website. If you Google Armour Modelling and Preservation Society, you'll find us. There's an inquiry link there where you can send us a message and we'll get in touch. I mean, we offer help with shows as well. So we've been doing this a lot. We've got standard operating procedure, kind of how to run a show documents. We'll jump on a Zoom call with you, and help people come in. If it's within the realm of practicality, hell, we'll parachute people in. There's lunatics like me who'll go anywhere. I mean, it was funny a few years back when I was writing my first book. I got in touch with this guy through eBay. He actually beat me out on a photo that I was bidding on, and so I said to him, "Hey, can maybe we could work something out?" And he's like, "Well, I've got a whole lot of photographs, and we could do a trade. You give us one of yours, we'll give you one of ours." So the only downside is I'm in Belgium, so you'd have to come to Belgium. And I said, "Okay, see you Saturday." And he and I became great mates. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years back, but we were in almost daily contact. Before that. So, like I said, we're kind of crazy that way. The other side of it, in terms of what's in it for people with the chapters, if you want to run a show, we can also set you up on our web-based scoring system, so that all the admin, you can have people sign up for the show, register their models, even pay their entry fee if they've got access to PayPal. They can download and print all their sheets. On the judging side, all the scoring sheets are downloadable. When the models are judged, you get on the laptop, you plug everything in, you press the button at the end, and it prints out exactly what everybody wins for the award ceremony.
Well, that makes life easy for
definitely
for the organisers.
Yeah, like I say, we've Chuck, our Canadian webmaster, Canuck Chuck as we call him. He wrote this whole thing from scratch, and it's just brilliant.
Fantastic.
The one thing that I forgot to sort of drill down a bit more is that you've got beginner, intermediate, and advanced in your categories. Yep. How would I know, as somebody coming in fresh off the street with the nice, Sherman tank I've just built? How would I know sort of which one to go into?
Well, I got really good advice the first time I went in, and they said, enter in intermediate, because that way, if you win a gold, the club rules say you got to bump up to advanced. If you don't win anything at all, well, maybe intermediate isn't quite for you. Maybe next year you should enter in basic. But if you get a bronze or a silver, you're probably in the right spot. But also the ramrod, when the model checks in, one of the things we always ask people is this your first AMP show? And if it is, then we'll give the model a good look, and if it's basic, obviously, then we'll advise people, hey, maybe you should that's where you should enter. I mean, we do get the odd person who's, well, of course I'm an advanced modeler. I've been doing this 30 years. Yes, but you've been doing it in your basement, and this is the first time you've ever come out to an actual gathering of other humans.
Yes, and there's more paint now than just Humboldt.
You have to use a little bit of persuasion. But like I said, I was given that advice the first year, and it's served me well, and I tend to give the same advice to other folks. And then there's other people you just look, I'm a first time modeler. You look at them, you're like, what? Yeah, you are not a first time modeler, mate. You really are. It should be in advance.
So does the ramrod, I guess he's sort of part, or you call him a scrutineer, also have the authority to sort of say, no, that's not going intermediate, that needs to go into advanced?
Well, at the end of the day, it's up to the modeler. If the guy is absolutely insistent that he's going to be in a particular level, okay, we're going to try to guide you, but at the end of the day, it's the modeler's decision.
Yep.
So then, what's your check and balance to stop trophy hunters coming in? So they might enter on the East Coast in intermediate, win a gold, and then jump on a plane and go across to the West Coast for another competition and into the same model or a slightly different model in intermediate again.
Well, the online scoring system actually includes a back-end database that records all the results over the years. So we know what you've brought in and what you've won with it, in previous shows. Now, the rule that says if you win a gold in intermediate, or first of all, you win a gold in basic, you bump up to intermediate. You win a gold in intermediate, you bump up to advanced. We only enforce that for the national show. if you've got a local original show, that's entirely up to the folks organising that show. And yeah, it's mostly an honour system. If somebody really wanted to game it, they could, but
what's the point?
If your purpose in life is to win a little piece of hot metal painted gold, knock yourself out.
Yeah, right? 100%, 100%. Well, it's been extremely enlightening, and I'm pleased that I've now discovered that AMPS isn't a bunch of Armour fanboys who've got long hair and escaped from a local hippie commune.
As you can see, long hair is not my problem.
And it certainly answered a few of my questions I've had. I don't know whether the boys have got anything else they sort of want to ask you.
No, I think we've pretty much covered it. Yeah. It's been great.
Yeah, it has been great. So, Neil, what else do you get up to apart from masquerading as a US citizen when you're in fact really an Aussie at heart?
Well, I do have 2 passports these days, so. But no, I'm an IT guy, so I that's what I do for a job. But other than that, honestly, the modelling and the history side of things is really my thing. So I mentioned earlier, I've written a few books. Strangely enough, I got somehow or other slated as the English language expert on Soviet World War II heavy tanks. So I've written, I think 5 books now out on that. So I haven't done anything in a while, but. We tour around, we have some fun, and I say most of my social circle is actually modelers and their wives and families.
Yes.
Well, it's certainly been a pleasure having you on the show, and we hope that we hope that we get to meet you at Omaha this year. So certainly,
I'd love it. I know a bunch of the guys who came to the RNATs in Virginia this year are going out to the IPMS one, and they're like, "Oh, you got to come!" So I'm like,
well, here's your excuse.
Exactly.
Well, right. The problem I have, certainly at this particular year is I want to get back to Oz because I haven't seen my family down there in 2.5 years. So I want to get back to Perth and visit mum and dad and my daughter. And
well, if you're coming back to Oz, you're going to coincide it with the model show in Melbourne, the model show in June. I want to say, oh, geez, I've forgotten what date it is.
June. Before Queen's birthday, wasn't it?
No.
Or was it after now?
They've changed the date now. No, it escaped me. Anyway, you've got to do it around that time.
Okay.
I'll have to get the date.
Melbourne in June is... I actually like Melbourne in the wintertime a lot better than I do in the summer.
Yeah. I agree.
It's too bloody hot and humid in the summer.
It's shocking
well,
nowadays.
this year it's been really particularly humid because we've had a La Nina, which means it's been a lot of moisture in the air, and it's been particularly uncomfortable in summer. But
I think La Nina is a Spanish word meaning Goulburn's underwater.
Well, it was New South Wales and Queensland this year, so luckily Melbourne sort of missed it. So we missed all the heavy rains. But it'd be great to see if you come out. Let us know. Get in touch with us. Let us know you're heading out this way, and it'd be great to catch up with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely, love to raise a glass with you guys. That'll be awesome.
No problems at all.
Totally agree.
All right, thanks, Neil.
No worries. Pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, you too, mate. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
All right.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Bye for now.
See you, mate.
Well, that was very interesting discussion on AMPS. And,
sure was. Learned a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pity I wasn't here for half of it.
You can go back and listen to the show. Yeah. You can hear the other half of the interview you missed out on.
Maybe.
But you know what? I've got to say, I'm quite excited about the AMPS way of doing things. It really inspires me, and I don't know, I haven't got time, man, to go and organise something like that, but I'd love to try and apply the sort of AMPS rules to, say, aircraft or ship stuff or sci-fi stuff, I reckon that'd be awesome. I really do.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And the fact that AMPS will help you set up a show as well, or a competition, and give you all that help and everything, and all the registration is all automated with their online sort of stuff, and just
makes it easier.
I've got little things sort of ticking away in the back of my head here thinking...
It's a problem, Dave. You've got too many things ticking away in the back of your head.
Yeah, you actually do. You've got too much going on.
I know.
You've only got so much time.
I know.
And unfortunately, our cloning techniques aren't up to scratch yet.
Our what techniques?
Cloning.
No, they're not. Yeah. But still, I'm just so inspired by just, I'm pleased to find out they're not some sort of, cult full of kooks or anything like that. It's good to see they're just,
regular guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you sort of always looked at them through slitted eyes thinking,
who are these
who are those strange dudes
who
over
are these
there?
dudes, yes. Yes. Too true.
Anyhow. All right, well, that's pretty much taking us up to the end of the show. So I think we need to do our outro. And might start with Julian, first of all, for a change.
Oh, gee, put me on the spot.
I'll put you on the spot, Mr. Johnny Come Lately.
No. Come on. I can count on my hand like the number of times I've been late in the last 20 years.
I know, but this is why Ian and I can't miss the opportunity to wind you up about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
What a mate's for, mate.
Absolutely,
Right.
100%.
I suppose that's true.
You're an Aussie. You should know that.
Hey, listen,
If you're not ragging on someone, they're not your mate.
Okay.
And I was so worried that at some point later on this weekend I was going to get in the car and drive across to see if you're okay.
I appreciate the sentiment. Okay, so I'll just end it with a bit of advice that perhaps doesn't get said too much. So if there's one thing I learned, it's that cheap airbrushes, while they are a nice low barrier to get into airbrushing, more expensive airbrushes will get you going in the right direction. Like, it's very easy to pick up a crap airbrush and sort of go, am I thinning enough? Why isn't it working properly? It's getting clogged. This isn't for me. But if you get a better airbrush, like a reasonable quality airbrush, it will better inform you of the direction you should be going. Because if you don't thin it enough, it will clog. But a cheap airbrush will clog for God knows what reason, You won't know if it's the quality of the airbrush. You won't know if it's your paint mixture. Am I using enough air? Yeah.
Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom.
And I've told this to people, and they've been skeptical, and then they've gone out and bought a better airbrush, and they've gone, I get it. I know exactly what you mean now.
But you get and well, actually, let's spend 10 minutes on this because it's interesting. I get why you buy a cheap airbrush for two reasons. Number one, when you're first starting out in the hobby, the prospect of slapping down $200 plus for an airbrush can be quite intimidating.
$600-700.
Yeah, and the prospect of $40 for an airbrush, some cheap knockoff from China, you go, yeah, you know what, I can do that. So for the beginner, I would still recommend just a cheap airbrush just to practice on.
I've got a cheap airbrush. You know what I use it for? Undercoat.
Yeah, there you go.
Look, it's not like you can't paint with a cheap airbrush.
You just can't get the finesse.
Yeah, but I mean...
100% agree with you there, 100%.
I would just say that if you're starting off with a cheap airbrush, have someone more experienced show you how to use it.
Yep. Well, my first airbrush was a Pash siphon feed. And
oh God, that's going back.
Well, it worked, and it was my first foray, and purchasing and using that, and it was only single action as well. And
I actually don't find any problem with single action.
No, but it buying that cheap airbrush, well, it wasn't really that cheap either when I think about it now. But that led me into getting much more better airbrushes than that one.
Right.
Because I realised very quickly the limitations, and not only the limitations of it, but the pain in the arse, if that's a word of it as well.
Right.
And it was a damn pain in the arse. But at least it got me on the ladder.
Yes, and that's an important thing. The trick is not to start and then get discouraged and then stop.
Oh, 100%.
Because I know people like that. They're like, oh, I've got an airbrush, but I never use it. That kind of.
Yeah, I feel sorry for those
like, how
people.
can you be so close to something so good and not?
Yep.
It's
like sinking a mine shaft and you missed that $1 million nugget by about 5 centimetres.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway.
But, I mean, like, they can't see that. They can only see things from their own perspective.
Yeah. And that's where it comes to being, say, a club member or going to model shows and talking with people who've already done stuff. Go and do that. Participate in your community. Learn from your community. Suck up the information from your community.
Yeah. And if you do have that cheap airbrush and you are having trouble with it, try buying some pre-thinned paint. Because that can sort of give you the goal of where to get to, right?
Like SMS paint. It's already pre-thinned in the bottle, ready to go. Just pour and spray.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I got this. I bought some copper from SMS paints, and it came through the mail, right? So it was weird when I got this tiny little bottle. It's like this big. It's tiny. It's small. I think it's about the same size, or if not smaller than Tamiya enamels. You know,
is it the concentrated version?
Yeah, it must be the concentrated version.
Yeah, you got to mix it. You got to pre-mix it.
Yeah, I got that, and I did mix it, and it came out just fine. But it was a bit weird. Like I was expecting one thing, and I got another. I was like, what? Have they? Yeah. Is this a change for things to come? I don't know.
No. They've released a range where it's the non-pre-thinned version, and so you're expected to do your own thinning with it.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend that for regular paint, but this was a metallizer, so what does it matter?
Yeah, exactly right, 100%. 100%. All right, well, that's a nice little sort of segue into us saying adios, but anyway. Anything else you want to add there, Julian? Any pearls of Julian wisdom?
Oh, maybe I should have saved them for next time so that I got some other sign-off.
Something else to talk about.
Fair enough. Ian?
Yeah, well, Fadowich is still my friend for those people who have been asking why I haven't been saying that. But yes, it still is my friend, even though resin 3D printing's right up there as well. But look forward to the next recording.
Excellent, no worries. And for those of you wondering what our next guest is going to be, is Lincoln. Lincoln Wright's coming on, and we're going to be talking about his new books.
Yes.
He's actually written 3 books.
But it's the first English...
Yes.
First English book.
Yeah,
on Machine Krieger, which is going to be fantastic.
Oh, it's going to be a great episode. Lincoln's always fun to talk to.
He's great fun, yeah.
And actually, we'll be able to do it by Zoom, which is even going to be more kooky because last time we've had him on like the telephone, but seeing him on Zoom as well is going to be a lot of fun.
Very much fun, yeah.
Anyway. All right, well, thanks, Ian. Thanks, Julian. And that's it from me. We'll see you in a fortnight. In the meantime, have a great modelling fortnight. Adios.